Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I'll tell you guys straight away what's really scary to me is hearing that Vin Diesel was accused and then Method Man. Now, for one, these things sound kind of strange because the things I hear about, especially with Vin Diesel, that he held some lady up and then he, manually relieved himself, sounds kind of odd because, well, if you're in these guys' positions, then you don't necessarily start thinking that, hey, I got to do this myself. That's not the first thing that goes through your head. It's more like I can get her to do it. And granted, one of the things that ladies are beginning to say nowadays is that it's the guys who have all these options that are taking it because they're not used to being told no. Now, that could be realistic for some guys, but I have doubts that that is as common as what they say. It also scares me a bit because, you see, both of them are somewhat under that kind of radar. You see, these kinds of accusations, if they're false, are based on stereotypes. And so, since they're based on stereotypes and the stereotypes are based on appearance, does he look like he can't get none or something like that? Then I would think that with the number of celebrities, that Method Man and Vin Diesel would have been underneath that kind of radar. Now, if I were famous, I would not have been. If I were famous, I would have been accused. Absolutely. Here's the issue. I resemble Vin Diesel. Now, I'm not in the gym as often as he is. I just recently started working out again because I live within a short, very, very short walking distance of a gym. I can be inside of it in a few minutes. But I'm not muscular. I'm not jacked. I'm not Diesel. I mean, literally and figuratively. The issue is, I still look a bit more innocent than he does. Now, where I live, women don't look at me and think, oh, no, I don't smell other bitches on him. He must not get none, so I can easily falsely accuse him. It's not like that here. And I know false accusations are a thing here where I live too, believe it or not, but it's riskier. If you do, if you falsely accuse a man here, it's easy for that man to turn around and get your butt thrown in the clink if he's got proof that you lied. Now, it's one thing to not be able to prove that a man committed the crime, but if a man can prove that you lied when you accused him, then it's easy for him to get your ass thrown into a clink. And as people know, women don't tend to keep it as clean as men do in these prisons. Next, where I live, I'm just kind of under the radar, and that's the good thing, but this tells me that if I do go back, and a woman thinks that there's something to gain from it, it's over. And here's the problem. Attention is one of the currencies, and it is about as appealing to these ladies as is money, cash. So, gentlemen, what you have to do is you have to look at the celebrities that are being hit up and being blamed and see if you resemble them. You also have to look and see, do you look like you bit gitches? Because if you don't, it's your ass. These are the ways. One, is there something to gain from it? Two, do you look like the kind of guy they can easily convince pinned them down and took it or did something that was creepy and sick? Even if it sounds pathetic, you have to factor this in. They are not playing around. I told you it's war. Some are still fighting it. If Vin actually did anything, he's going to have to pay. But the other thing too is that if he actually did anything, I think he would have already had to pay. If Method Man had did something like anything like this in the 90s, I think he would have already had to pay. I don't see him getting away with this for all those years. I'm not saying that these men are saints per se, but by the same token, the number of celebrities who are being pursued by these broads, also being accused, is astounding. Someone's lying. Someone has to lie. Not only that, one of the things I do know as I've learned and as I've gotten older is that a lot of these women have things that they want done that go into that. So there are women that say, I want to be held by my neck. I want to be held down. There are women that say, I want to be pinned down or restrained or something. They'll say this sort of thing. But once you do that, they can say that you went beyond what they even wanted and consented to. Now, it's normal for women to want a guy to put a little muscle into it, but putting muscle into it is different from pinning her down or holding her neck or something like that. See, in the West, the fantasies they have always involve them having some control over you in the end. It's always that. I think that's really their fantasy. And the funny thing is that once they have that, they can't respect you. And so you're no longer their fantasy. And so I really can't understand it. It seems to me like the only point of it is to be against you. Like their point is to be against you. Their job is to make things difficult for you. That's what seems to be the case. They're just there so that you suffer. That's the way that they behave in the West. Their raison d'être is that you suffer. And so to hear that the one whom I resemble is now facing an accusation, and I don't even know when she says it happened, but to hear this when nobody has said anything, that's kind of scary. I'm going to be monitoring the news from here on out, and if this really blows up, I'm not going back to the States next summer either. If this blows up, if this becomes a big deal like the Cosby thing, I will stay my butt over here. And what's the reason? Subconscious bias. There's less evidence against him than there was against Cosby. Then again, these are always based on accusations. The other thing too is I'm not hearing about, there was Weinstein, but I'm not hearing about anybody else facing any accusations that is one of those that's a Wyatt. Only Epstein for some real serious, violent, sick crimes that go beyond the norm, and then Weinstein, Epstein, and then Weinstein. I didn't hear about anybody else. Maybe they're there, but I didn't hear about them. Am I right to be afraid? You chime in and let me know. And thank you for listening. As always, Black Heart, Black Mind, Black Out. Assalamu alaikum, and black, heterosexual, non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction or judgment day. Thank you for flying again with us on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender, justice, forever.